So I want to share with you all my unconventional deliverance experience. And I didn't even know I was undergoing deliverance until actually a few days ago. And it has been the most painful deliverance experience because sometimes we think about deliverance as being, you go to this altar, someone lay hands on you, they cast the devil out, and you are delivered. Really, if ever, do we think about the process of deliverance, right? That walking it out. And sometimes when the deliverance happens within the four walls of the church, people are like, okay, now you got to walk it out. Now you got to stay free, right? What happens though when God doesn't give you the lay hands on the head experience and says, let's walk out this deliverance process and throws you into a deliverance experience that you didn't even know you didn't even want, you didn't even know to want, but attached to a yes, it is what you underwent. So in today's video, I want to share with you all a little bit about the deliverance that I've been undergoing for almost a year now and how I came to that realization that this is what this process was actually about. It was never really about the suffering that I had experienced and undergone. It was really about delivering me from something generational, and also knowing that I had to pay said price. Sometimes you in your deliverance journey, you're going to have to pay a price. You're going to have to pay the price to be free. And generally, when God is dealing with me or in my own journey, I generally have to pay the price on the front end for so many things. And it is a painful thing, but I do know that generally when I am paying that price, I try to remember that it will be worth it. Like the end result will be worth it. And that's what I want to talk about now. So this deliverance journey started before the journey started. It actually started in 2021 when I got a prophetic word, and I'm going to play that word right now.
Weird. Do you have an apartment complex? Or you have an apartment? Okay, the Lord's going to move you out of your apartment to a bigger apartment complex. It's actually going to be a little bit larger. It's almost like I see like this big, more open space inside your apartment complex. I don't know if you're in a 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom, but it just feels like it's a little bit dark. It seems like the Lord's going to move you more into like a city-style atmosphere if you're not there right now, and then I can almost see like you in a high-rise building, right? I think he's doing that for two reasons, and he's highlighting that to two reasons. There's a level of elevation that's going to happen to your career. I can see that. And then he's going to cause more clarity and definitions. I see like there's a hobby that you do and like your work thing, and it's like they don't converge yet. The Lord's going to make those two things converge very quickly. There's this, and I can see it too right now, but there's like, there's two things. It's almost like a level of healing people through like fashion, womanhood, creating like this balance and development, but he's going to put you into an environment where he can start building you first and then actually cultivating the environment for you. So when he's moving you to this new location, it's a sign to you that he's preparing the environment for you, even though you may not have all the connections there right now.
So as you can hear from this prophetic word that I got in July of 2021, the man was saying that God is about to move you out of your apartment. And at that time, I was moving out of my apartment in like 9 days, right? By the end of July, I was moving, and I was moving to, I was on the first floor in the apartment. It was incredibly dark. I did not love that about the apartment. So I was moving to the apartment complex next door, but I was going to the third floor with tons of sunlight. And so I'm like, oh my God, this man is prophesying about this moment, this next 9 days. And oh my God, he knew nothing about me. This prophetic word was in California at the time. I was living in Las Vegas. So I was like, oh snap, he's really hearing from God. And so in that moment, I was thinking, okay, I am going to move out of my apartment, the first floor apartment, which I did not enjoy. And now I'm about to move to a third floor apartment. It doesn't give high rise, but maybe he's off a little bit. Maybe he sees me moving to a higher floor. Y'all see how we start to add stuff. Anyway, so I was like, okay, cool. So this is right on time. This is right now. And so the tricky part of this prophetic word was that when he was talking about, what do you say? When he was talking about your work thing, there's a level of elevation that's about to come to your career. Y'all, I thought, yes, I'm about to go out for tenure. Well, I was going to go out for tenure in 2023. God ain't going to make me, go through what I thought he was maybe going to make me go through. Like I was already starting to sense that things were going to shift. So I'm like, bet. I'm about to be elevated in my career. Like, yeah, he's talking about tenure. So I'm thinking, okay, he's talking in the future for, 2 years from now. And then he said, it's something that you do, your work thing, this hobby that you do, and your work thing, they don't converge yet. Okay, at the time I was doing more beauty content and I was doing, jumping in and out of clothes, like my friends would say. And those two things were separate. They were separate things, but I was like, okay, God is about to let me be in my career and be this big brand influencer all at the same time, not knowing that the elevation to my career actually would later mean that I was leaving the career. I didn't know that. The high rise that he was talking about was not me moving next door in a complex up in Vegas. It was actually the move that I took in Dallas when I moved in 2023. I stayed in a high rise like building that looked completely different from the apartment complexes that I moved in or lived in Vegas. So I'm thinking he's prophesying the right now, and a portion of it was the right now. It was that 2021, I was moving from a dark apartment, but the next apartment he saw was 2 years later in Dallas. The elevation to the career that he was talking about did not come until I left in 2024 officially. So, when people are talking about prophecy and talking about things, you see bits and pieces of it. So the prophets and people are prophesying, they don't have the full story. They're just telling you the bits and pieces that they see. So I was trying to put together this story in my mind, not knowing some of this is right now, and some of these bits and pieces and things that he's about to see are going to happen once you get to this high rise building. Now, he also talks about how, you may not have all the connections and things like that, all of those things, but God was going to build me first, then build the community around me. Y'all, I have not had no connection in Texas. Not for real. I still haven't even figured out why I'm here. Let's go there. And we're in 2025 and I relocated here at the end of July 2023. So what he's saying is true. God has been slapping the taste out of my mouth. This experience has caused me to be traumatized, some form of PTSD, crime, panic, terror, all of these things that y'all may not see. What y'all see here is just, that's the beautiful version, because this process has been ugly. So this is when this deliverance thing started to happen. 2021, didn't know nothing about anything. But I said yes. I gave God a yes. And then that leads me to the second prophetic word that kind of confirmed in a different way what this person was prophesying. And this prophetic word came October 2021.
And I even saw where there were several additional contracts. God says you weren't you weren't wrong, or you did not miss me when you heard well concerning the transition of your career. There's going to come over the next 3 years a decision that's going to literally cause you to like literally a decision. I see you at a table and there's two opportunities above you. Well, there's two opportunities in front of you. It's either, do I continue on in my narrative as a professor at UNLV, or do I take this opportunity that can literally provide generational wealth and other things to come? Do I focus on the security, or do I go all in and do the risk factor? And so God is saying that I'm setting this even up now for what's to come of the future. And you will decide well. You will not move prematurely. You will not move prematurely, but you will be as Issachar and discern the seasons of the time and know when to act.
Okay. There is a lot that just happened in that short amount of time, right? From the guy who prophesied in July, did not say that I was going to be leaving my career. He didn't. He didn't know that. He said that there will be elevation and God's going to make two things converge very quickly, right? And God's timeline, talking about quick, it don't need to be quick. But anyway, before my friend prophesied the end of my career, I had a thought. It was this fleeting thought. I wasn't even paying attention that your career is over. And I didn't say anything because my friend was giving me my birthday prophetic word. And he prophesied that point that you didn't mishear me. You heard you heard accurately, right? That this thing is about to happen for you. You're going to have to make a decision. And he actually prophesied the timeline accurately. He's giving me this prophecy in 2021. He says over the next 3 years, you're going to have to make a decision. He said, I see you at a table. You have 2 decisions before you. Do you go all in and do the risk factor? Or do you stay a professor at UNLV and go for the security and the risk? He's saying this in 2021. I didn't leave or write my resignation until 2023. And I didn't officially leave until 2024. This is how God is already beginning to set this stage up for this process, letting me know, hey, this is coming. Hey, prepare yourself. Hey, this is what's on my mind for you. This is your next. And in the I guess in the moment, not when my friend is prophesying with my birthday word, but in the July moment, I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. Like, yeah, God is about to do this thing, but I didn't hear the terms and conditions in that word. Because you can never know the terms and conditions until you get into the term and condition season, right? So I'm up there, I'm like celebratory. I'm excited about getting prophecy and things like that. And y'all, when I tell you, when I got to October, and 2021 was a very, very, very difficult year for me. After that prophetic word, everything started falling apart. So when my friend gives me the October word, I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. I am really about to have to leave my childhood dream. I'm really about to have to leave. And I say have to leave loosely because God did give me a choice. There was a choice here. You can stay here, Brianna, or you can come into the more with me. And anybody who is a Christian and anybody who wants, a better life, you want the more. You may not want the risk of the more, but you do want the more. Like everything within like I'm probably supposed to have more than this. This is why some people say, oh my God, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be further, because something in you knew that you were supposed to be at a different spot, but you're at another stop and another spot, and something is saying, you're not supposed to be here. You're supposed to be 2 paces ahead. Sometimes that is what that is. So when we finally get to the end of 2022, when I know definitively that God has given me this option, right? This is after the Let There Be challenge. I'm just finished. Y'all know I'm exhausted afterwards, laboring for 6 weeks with people. I'm exhausted. We get to the end of 2022, and I said, I think my career is over. And I say this out of my mouth at this point. 2021, it was acknowledgement. December 2022, it's over. It's over. The grace is lifting here. Nothing is wrong. Nothing is wrong. My job is doing what my job is supposed to do. It is giving what it's supposed to have given. But I knew the time is now for you to make a decision. So in my heart, I'm like, okay, well, I want to get out of Vegas anyway. So if my time is over in Vegas, then where am I going to move? Like, where am I going to live? And I remember waking up one day, early January, about to get up, go to Chick-fil-A, get me some chicken biscuits. And I knew I was supposed to be in Dallas. I knew Texas was the move. I didn't know why. No family in Texas. Nothing to draw me here. When people say, what brought you to Texas? I don't know. What you doing here? I have no clue. I don't know. Like, I can never answer that question because it's like the things that typically bring people to a state or to the point of relocation did not do that. I woke up and I knew I was supposed to be here. So I knew this in January, and I'm out here in March to come look at places. By July, I've moved. By the end of July, I have moved. And so the move, I knew, would not only at some point trigger the end of my career, but now I know that it triggered the beginning of a deliverance process. And it has been the bloodiest deliverance process that I've ever undergone. Sometimes people like to glamorize deliverance like, oh my God, but if you look at that process, it is a painful process. If you look at demons being cast out of people painfully, if you like, deliverance is painful, and I don't know why we be like, oh, you just need deliverance. Do you know the traumatic experience that someone undergoes with deliverance? Not saying you don't need it, but I just want us to think about the experience. And some things are not delivered at the altar. No. The surface level ones might be. The strongholds, those strong men, those generational things, they don't leave. They send the minor ones up first. Then the person has to walk it out slowly but surely. And so when I get to Dallas, y'all already know if you've been following my journey, when I had the Book of Brianna podcast, the relocation was horrific. The experience of it was horrific. One, we couldn't get my car shipped. I had originally planned to fly to Dallas. We couldn't find a broker in time, so that meant that I could not fly. I had to drive my car from Las Vegas to Texas. All right, y'all, the time has finally come. It is July 28th, 6:59 a.m., and I am about to get on the road to head out of Nevada. Man, it's so surreal at this moment. I don't think it'll hit me until I make it out of the state. Well, look, to new beginnings, to completion, to new beginnings, to order, to all the things. I am really excited. I have mixed emotions right now, but the overwhelming emotion today is excitement. Yesterday, it was exhaustion. But here I am. Here we are. Just got my on the road snacks, and yeah, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. And I'm glad that this day is finally here so I can get this move behind me. So just checking in. I'm about to get on the road. It was a long drive, 16 hours alone. That also meant that I needed to also ship the things that I was taking with me. So I did not take my entire apartment with me. I actually gave majority of the things away to a single mom who needed things. And then I shipped my clothes, right? Shipped my clothes via FedEx, packed them up, shipped it. And my apartment complex in Vegas did not have an elevator. So I'm moving and toting boxes from my apartment to my car to the FedEx store in 110-degree weather. Tired, hot, exhausted, scared. Because I haven't left my career yet, but I know it's coming. I don't know why I'm leaving Vegas, but I know I want to leave Vegas, but I also don't know why I'm going to Texas. And if anyone has ever uprooted their life, you know how hard uprooting your life is. The move is stressful within itself, right? Moving from one place to another place in the same state or city is stressful. Imagine picking up your life and relocating to another state. Now, to be clear, I've done this several times. When I left Chicago for Mississippi for undergrad, when I left Mississippi for St. Louis for my master's, when I left St. Louis for Alabama for my PhD, then when I left Alabama for Las Vegas for my career, and then now I'm leaving Las Vegas for Texas. It's hard. Transitioning is hard. You're leaving everything you know. I didn't have people out here. I was going to have to learn something completely new again, start over again. And for someone who has consistently had to start over, start from scratch with every move, it is the hardest, emotionally draining thing you can do. But now I'm having to drive 16 hours by myself. I'm having to pack my car up as much as possible. I'm having to ship my items, this is a costly move, y'all. I drove, I think, the first 9 hours or so to my brother's house, who stayed in Albuquerque, because I had to come through Albuquerque to get to Dallas. And so I stayed the night over there, exhausted, got up the next morning at 6 a.m., hit the road, drove the rest of the way here. All right, y'all. Good morning. It is Saturday, July 29th, and it is 5:57 in Albuquerque. So I did 7.5 hour drive to my brother's house.
in Albuquerque, and I am literally about to pack my car back up and get on the road. If tired was a person, it's me. But this is the last leg of the drive today. I should be in Texas before 4, so that's anytime between 2 and 4, I think. But the goal is to get there. So I'm gonna try to leave his house by 6:15, so it's within the next 15 minutes, and I am gonna get on the road. I am tired, my body hurts, but I am still excited, just as excited as I was yesterday. And so by the end of the day today, I'll be in my final destination, and it's so surreal, it's so exciting, but I'm super grateful that I've made it here. So anyway, let me stop rumbling my mouth, running my mouth, and pack this car up and get on the road. I'll chat with you soon. Good morning.
Stayed in the hotel my first night, stayed with friends for 2 nights until my apartment was ready, and then I moved in my apartment. Now, here's the kicker. My items were supposed to be delivered at a certain time, okay? And I packed the boxes, all the things. The FedEx drivers, not only did they drop my boxes off at a FedEx store and refuse to deliver them to my apartment, my boxes were open. Yeah. My boxes were open by the time I got there. By the time I got into my apartment. When I say open, I mean stuff was gone. Stuff was missing. Stuff was dirty. I didn't have everything that I had packed up. And at the same time, I was probably like 2 or 3 days into my raw vegan experience. So I'm hungry. I'm hot. I'm tired. I'm emotionally drained. I'm moving by myself. My items are missing. I know my career is almost over. Like, I'm going through all the things and I'm just breaking down internally. I'm breaking down internally because I can't believe that this is my life. I can't believe, one, that I have agreed to step out of the life that I had worked so hard to create for myself. That's number one. Number two, I can't believe that all of these things are happening within a short amount of time, and I'm already exhausted and I'm already tired. Number three, I can't believe that I'm about to leave my career. Like, I'm still in shock. Like, I'm grieving. The grieving process started at the move. It did not start in December when I submitted my letter of recommendation, or in September when I first had the first conversation with my boss, letting her know I'm probably about to resign. It started at the decision to move, at the yes to God, at the point of obedience. That's when the grief started. So I get to my apartment. You know, I gave away everything. When I'm doing a major move like that, I have no problem giving away everything to people. I've done it several times over. I get to Dallas, and I had pre-ordered my bed. You know, Ashley Furniture was meeting me the next day. Y'all know that they didn't deliver the right bed. It was the wrong color. So now I'm having to go through a runaround with them about getting my refund. It was just so much. And then FedEx trifling selves, the mattress that I had ordered from Wayfair, they didn't deliver it to my house because they didn't want to get in the elevator. They delivered it to a store again. Man, I told them, man, look, I can't get no bed in my house. I can't get a bed in my car. I need y'all. This is the second time this has happened. I need you all to deliver this bed or send it back. Like, I was at my wit's end. Like, of course, I'm sleeping on the air mattress, but I'm at my wit's end at this point, right? So I'm going through all this warfare, going through all this like resistance, and I'm just tired. I'm exhausted. I'm like, I just can't believe this is my life. And it was hit after hit after hit, struggle after struggle after struggle. Like, and I'm like, if I didn't have the experience when I was moving to Vegas, when all hell was breaking loose and I ended up homeless for a few months, having to live in a hotel when that tree had fallen on the house. If I had not had that experience in 2018, when I moved to Vegas with less than $40 in my pocket because my university couldn't figure out how to pay me the $10,000 they owed me because something was wrong with the system, and I moved and I cried myself to sleep that night, and then, the next morning, a portion of it was released. If I didn't have the experience of me shipping my car from Alabama to Vegas and them leaving my car at a casino in valet, when I paid for door-to-door service, if I didn't have all of these experiences, I would have said I made the wrong decision. I made the wrong decision. I shouldn't have left. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have. And in both cases, people told me I wouldn't do it. But something within me knew, you gotta do this. This is the right thing. And the right thing is not always matched with the right circumstances. The right thing is not always met with ease. And that is the misconception. People always think, oh, I had peace about it, so I knew I should do it. You ain't gonna always have peace and be in the will of God. You're not gonna always have peace and be in purpose. Purpose is the most unpeaceful thing you can ever do, because sometimes it is against your will. And I've had to learn that. So, my God, so real. Jesus. I'm trying to speed this story up. I'm trying to fill in the holes for a lot of new people and speed it up for the people who knew. So, I'm finally settled in my apartment in Dallas. Loved it. It was right near the airport where I needed to be because I was still back and forth to Vegas. Before I left Vegas, I had a conversation with my department chair where she agreed to allow me to teach online next semester. Now, I was already teaching online for the fall. She agreed to let me teach online for the spring. And I checked my portal, this is September, and I see that they gave me an in-person class. Who gonna be in person 2 days a week? Who gonna do that? Not me. Because Brianna is already living in Dallas. Brianna is already, gone. There's no way I'm going to be on campus. No way. So I have a conversation with her, and she says that, there's some downward pressure. And the dean's office has said, hey, we cannot give people online classes. They have to at least have one in-person class. Yikes. So I said, okay, well, can I have a real conversation with you? And I have this conversation with her, and in the conversation, I'm telling her that I'm reconsidering and rethinking through some things in my life, and I probably am going to resign. And she said, oh my gosh, she could not, she was sad about it because she was so good to me. Like, she was my mentor as well as my department chair, as well as someone who advocated for me to get the job in 2018. Like, she was good. We were good. I saw her as a friend. And she said, okay, she was sad about it. She said, okay, I said, please keep this between us. She ain't keep it between us. She actually went and talked to the deans. And the deans, this is when they come back with 3 offers for me. And I sit with those offers. 3 offers not to leave. I sit with those offers. And I kind of knew that I couldn't take them. Because I knew that if I took them, it would be out of convenience for me, out of safety and protection for me, when I knew God was already offering me an off-ramp. If I took those offers, I would have a plan B, and I've never had a plan B in life, y'all. Plan A has always been the plan for me. And so I felt that if I took this plan B, one of these offers, I would not, I might as well have stayed in Vegas at that point, right? I'm not fully walking by faith. I'm not fully walking this process out. I'm cheating in a way. And I just said, I'm not supposed to do that. Like, I knew that if I did it, because one of the offers was to hold my position for a year, let me go off. Maybe I'm tripping. They'll hold my position for a year, let me go and leave. But I knew even then, if I did that, I would be holding someone else's destiny up who was supposed to be there. I knew that my replacement was ready, and I could not afford to do that to the person I didn't know, because they were ready to step into their destiny as my replacement. And I knew that if I held it up, I was going to hold them up. That's not who I am. I'm about fairness. I'm about you doing what's right. So I said, no, I'm good. Next thing, I need to have a conversation with the dean. This is a verbal. These are verbal conversations before I submit letter of resignation. I fly back into Vegas. I'm a wreck. I'm a wreck. Now let me say, this photo that you all see here, I forgot to say this photo that y'all see here is when I first get off the phone with my department chair. I'm in shock. I'm on FaceTime with my mama. Terror. That is the look of terror. That is the look of the beginning of a deliverance process. Terror. Fright. I'm shook. I'm scared to death. I am, oh my God, what did you just do? And so I have to go meet with the dean. I have to give her a verbal conversation. And y'all see this video here. All right, y'all. It is the morning of November 2nd. I'm actually flying back into Vegas to let my dean know that I am going to be resigning. Your girl is tired. This has been not only a tough season, but a tough decision that I've been wrestling with. I don't anticipate failure. I never anticipate failure in obeying God, but you know, I'm here thugging it out. I will do a video tomorrow leading up to the conversation. I'm headed there, face puffy. I'm sad. I am sad making this decision. I'm sad undergoing this deliverance process, because deliverance isn't always pretty. Freedom isn't always pretty. You're not always gonna laugh and smile. Sometimes freedom hurts. And that decision to walk into a new level of freedom was beginning to hurt. All right, y'all, so I am in Vegas. It is an hour out of the conversation that I'm having with my dean this morning. As you can tell, I've already been crying. I have really asked God to, if there's any other way, let's go another route, right? But this is the way. This is the way that I have to go. This is the sacrifice that I have to make. And I'm not thrilled about making it. I'm really scared. This could be the decision that sets up my children's children. I felt every bit of it. I felt my world falling apart, the world that I worked so hard to build, the girl who was living in the south side of Chicago, the girl who ate syrup sandwiches because we didn't have a lot of food, the girl who didn't come from much. Her heart was breaking because we made it. We made it out of the hood. We made something of ourselves, and now you're about to give it up. I'm trying not to cry out because I'm about to go hang out. You're about to give it up. So I get to Vegas. Y'all have seen these videos if y'all watch the Book of Brianna podcast. I get to Vegas and I'm heart racing. I go into the dean's office. Cool lady. I like her. She follows me on Instagram. She wants to know what's going on. What's up? Like, you're going up for tenure. Your case is solid. You can make it. She wants to know, and I'm sitting in that lady's office, and the only thing that I could tell her was, you know, the people that I'm called to help right now are no longer behind the academic paywall. And I don't think that I should be here anymore because I think my time is up. She talks me into it. You know, you have options. This is the time for you to be selfish. All of these things. She didn't understand it. And I didn't understand it either. And I'm trying to hold back tears because I'm like, I know. It don't make sense. And it don't make sense to me either. But I know it like I know my name, that I gotta go. And I gotta go right now. So after she tells me, gives me all my options, she says, okay, here's your next process. The next thing you need to do by the end of the semester is submit your official letter of recommendation. You need to write it out. You need to submit it to me, the department chair, and then we will, put it in the system, and then we will go ahead. You'll have 72 hours to rescind this letter, and then we'll go ahead and terminate you. And I said, okay, cool. So I have a few days to think about it. We go through the holidays. Like, I think I even went home for Thanksgiving that year because I wasn't okay. Mom said, come home. Come home. And I've been on edge, okay? She says, come home. And I came home. And it was a good decision, but I slept majority of my time in Chicago. I slept. I slept because I was so restless. I was so tired. I was so tired. And the December morning, I submitted the letter of recommendation, and I went ahead and cataloged that for y'all. I showed the process of me submitting the letter of recommendation and just talking about how I wasn't happy about it and things like that. And then, Lord and behold, 3 days later, there was a shooting on our campus that took the lives of 3 faculty members. I could have been there, but I was in Dallas. And God spared me because I would have been on campus during that time. And then I checked my portal and it says terminate Brianna Whiteside. The first 10 years of my life, of my career, have been wonderful. They've done exactly what I knew that they would do. And for that, I call that success. I am grateful. I'm afraid, but I am certain nonetheless. So yeah, I'm about to submit. I'm about to flip the camera so you can see me actually submit the resignation. You see here? Whiteside resignation. And I said, no, you're done. Now you're out of the system, Bree. Yeah, you have a few more months. You're going to still be on payroll, right? You're going to get your last check in June. But now the clock, we're counting down. Every day I'm counting down. But I'm believing that God is going to show up for me, that God is not going to let me down. Like, he's not going to let me be in a free fall or let this huge gap happen in my life, because he's not going to let me do that. Because, the Bible says I've never seen the righteous forsaken or their seed begging bread. Like, he's not going to let me fall. But he's going to let me feel like I'm falling. I could not wrap my mind around that. I was like, no, God is going to come through before June. He's not going to let me have a gap in my pay, right? Yes. When he told me in 2019 to start getting my money together, I didn't know that it was for 2024. I didn't know that he was giving me enough time to start getting my finances in order so I would have the courage to leave, but also the ability to fill the financial gap that I've been still in, almost a year later. So I'm counting down. I'm like, surely God's gonna come through. Surely God's gonna come through. Surely God's gonna come through. Like, I'm in terror. I'm crying. I'm holding on to faith. I'm trying to believe. I'm trying to endure. Y'all know that scripture that says, for the joy that was set before him, Christ endured the cross. I was trying to hold on to the joy that was set before me. I was trying. I'm like, he gonna come through before we get to the end of June. And we roll around to July 1st and he ain't come through. And not only that, I had decided that I needed to live in an apartment that was a little less than what I was paying. And so I was like, okay, you're going to have to move. So I'm also having to move at the end of July. So we're at the beginning of July. I'm moving at the end of July to another apartment. And God still hasn't come through. And I'm like, but I've seen what you've done for so many other people. Like, I've seen people, give these testimonies and they say he came through and all this other stuff before they hit rock bottom. I saw you come through before they got this monkey bar experience. And y'all know what I mean? Like, on the monkey bars, you're on one bar, you can see the next one and you take hold of it. I was certain God was going to give me a monkey bar experience. And he didn't. And I was crushed. And I still had to move in the disappointment. And I said, okay, you have this much money saved. You are a good financial steward. Certainly, God's not going to let you get down to your last bank account. Okay? This is why now y'all catching up. Certainly, he's not going to let you get to that last 10K. And when I got to that last 10K, y'all, I said, how can this be? I know you told me to do this. I know you gave me this opportunity. I know the Texas move was ordained by you. Nothing supernatural happened. The process was hard, right? I was a good steward. I showed up. I did things. I have not lied to people. I've been good. And you didn't give me a supernatural experience, but I had this hard process that I had to walk out, and I suffered for every bit of it. And I was shocked. And y'all, to be honest, I thought there was moments that I was becoming an atheist. I'm not far removed from those thoughts, because I'm like, how could you? How could you? I put all my faith in you. I put all my trust in you. How could you not? You knew I was terrified. You knew I was afraid, and I took you at your word, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Then I started doubting. Did you really hear God? Did he really tell you to leave your career? Were the prophets lying to you? Because this process, you're about to be homeless again. And for people who don't know my story with this, like, it's not just the career. It is the fact that I'm from the hood. It is the fact that over and over I have felt like God was about to send me back to the hood. And I'm not talking about any hood, y'all. I've seen people unalived in front of me. I've seen gangbangers run up in my crib and beat someone to death. I'm talking about the hood. And you gonna send me back there? I made it out. No one gave me anything. No one gave me anything. I've served you. I've been honest. I've been fair. I've been all these things, and you gonna do that to me? I'm really trying to stop, the tears from rolling, because as I said, I'm about to leave in a minute and I don't want to mess up my makeup. So we get down to the last 10K. This is probably February. We get down to it. No, this is January. Because I showed y'all the screenshot at the end of February that's it. That's all you got. You ain't got no more. You got $35 to your name. Okay. So I suffered. There were a lot of restless nights. There was a lot of sleepless nights. There was a lot of, am I even saved questions? Am I even yours questions? Like, why do you hate me so much? Like, why is everything so hard for me? Like, all of these things, like, do you even hear me? Do you even care about me? Like, what is going on? And I was scared, because I'm like, I was scared of my own mental health, because I wasn't sure that I was emotionally stable. And y'all saw me showing up. Y'all saw me posting videos. Y'all saw me still posting on the blog. Y'all saw me. And behind the doors, I was thinking about taking myself out of here. I've never said that out loud, but I was. The pressure was too much, too great. I had bore it for so long. And it's easy to give all these Christian cliches, cast your cares on him. You tell me how you gonna do that when you think you're about to threaten homelessness. You tell me how you gonna do that when you've done the stuff that the Bible told you to do, and you still find yourself in the same place, actually in a worse place a year later. You tell me. Because no scripture was going to take away that feeling. No worship song was going to let me spiritually bypass the reality that I'm mentally struggling now, because I followed God into a season that I had no idea was waiting for me. And even as I am recording this, nothing has happened for me. So I get on the internet. I tell y'all, okay, y'all, look, I got $35 to my name. I need to save 10K in 90 days. And I'm going to give y'all the update in another video where I stand at the end of May and then at the end of June, because that's the 90 days. So I'm like, all right, you're going to have to get to it. Like, you didn't pray, you didn't fasted, you didn't done all the stuff that people tell you to do. And God still ain't said a word. And people could easily say, oh, he was always talking, you weren't listening. No, I was in the middle of a test. And the teacher is always silent with the test because he already told you what's on the test. At the end of this test, not the process, but at the end of this test, Brianna, this is the thing. You need to get to the place. So no amount of begging for mercy, no amount of tears, no amount of crying, no amount of nothing got me out of that. So there is a place that you can get to, that you can do all the things right, and you can still be in a season of suffering and you still in the will of God. And no amount of sowing seeds, no amount of doing the Christian things will get you out of that season unless God says, time up. Until then, buckle up, buttercup. So I get on here, I'm heartbroken. $35? I just had a great nest egg. It took me years to build up this nest egg. It took me years to become financially responsible. It took me years. And it took me less time to spend all that money because I didn't have my salary coming in, and I was mad, pissed off, if I can be honest, angry, livid, borderline atheistic. And I just said, all right, well, look, you did it. Maybe you missed God. And I even considered, and people close to me even said, are you going to go back to academia? And I kept saying, I can't go back. This isn't, while I left properly, the systems of academia, they operate in a certain system. That's what I'll say. And you need certain letters of recommendation. You need certain things. And to get back into the, whatever. And a lot of people aren't even hiring right now because of the economy. And those questions, are you going to go back? Are you going to go back? And I was going back and forth, and I'm thinking to myself, then why you leave then? If you was just going to go back, why you go through all this suffering? Why? If you go back, you're not going back as close as you were to tenure. You're actually about to have to start over in a lot of ways. Why would you do that? And at times I'm like, maybe. At times I'll go look at the job hiring websites, saying like, okay, well, maybe I can. And at the end of the day, I never did it. I still haven't done it. Why? Because that wasn't the agreement. That wasn't what I believe God was telling me. I'm going to have to see this thing through, even if it means the bottom falls out. And that is the ugly side of deliverance. No one gave me anything. And even when I think about it, like my car had a lot of car trouble, like money was leaving my hands and not filling it up as quickly. And I cried and I cried and I begged and I pleaded for mercy. Like, there is a audio that I'm probably not going to share right now. I'll see you at the editing stage of this video. There's an audio where I'm screaming. I'm screaming for help. I'm screaming, trying to encourage myself not to give up. I'm screaming. It's terrifying. I'm terrified. And I can't believe that this is the journey of faith. I can't believe that he would leave me here. Because it felt like he left me. And I get on this app and I say, I'm going to start this savings journey. Y'all know the last update I've given y'all, I was able to save $5,000 in that first month. I told you all how much how much they pay me in APY as a result of leaving my money there. I told y'all this. And I still had this willpower to say, I'm going to have to do this myself because my God will not come through for me. I'm going to have to make this happen because the God of the Bible did not come through for me. As a matter of fact, he let me suffer. He watched me suffer. And I couldn't figure it out, but the will within me, that feeling, that humanness, that your God will not show up for you, started to rise. I already told you I was struggling with atheistic thoughts now. But for some reason, that humanness could not rise above the spiritual knowing, right? Because there is a process before the process. There is a place where you have built yourself up so much that even when you want to let it go, your spirit is still holding on to the thing. And that is what had begun to happen. I'm trying to let this church spiritual God stuff go. I ain't interested. I don't want to talk to no prophet. I don't want no prophetic word. Don't talk to me about praying. Don't say nothing to me. I ain't doing it. I'm just being honest. But the spiritual side kept coming up. The Holy Ghost kept coming, like pulling me back up, pulling me back. And I'm like, just let me drown. Let me go. Because y'all, this is a game to y'all. This is a joke. I'm a joke. I must be a clown signed up for the circus. Like, this is a joke, right? And so a few days ago, I get to this point where I say, I give up. And if someone is listening to that, you're like, no, you can't give up. No, I give up. It was the moment of reckoning. It was that moment of surrender. Like, well, if you don't care about it, I don't care about it either. If you don't care about my life, then I can't either. Like, I give up. I can't override you. I can't keep trying to secure myself, and you have literally closed doors. I can't keep trying to make sure that I'm okay. I can't keep trying to do that because my efforts are not yielding me the results that I need them to yield. I'm working hard. I'm doing a lot of stuff and it ain't working. I quit. It was that moment of quit. It was that moment of surrender when I had got tired of trying to make it happen, when I had gotten tired of trying to secure myself, when I had gotten tired of, trying to make sure I'm okay. I just said, forget it. If I die, I die. If I perish, I perish. That, scripture. If I go down, I go down. If people laugh at me, people laugh at me. I can't keep doing this. I'm out. I'm tapping out. Tap your girl out. Count me out. Take me off the roster. I'm good. I'm not. I ain't signed up for the strong soldier pack, no limit soldier pack anyway, right? But it was in that moment, that day, probably 4 days ago. That day, something clicked. Something clicked. Nothing happened, but something clicked in the vein of, we was waiting for you to give up. Mm-hmm. We were waiting for you to give up because in order for you to step into the kingdom, we can't have any of you. We were waiting for your will to give up. We were waiting for that pride to break. We was waiting for you to stop fighting and surrender. And that's easier said than done because some people have to fight I had to fight to get out the hood, right? I had to fight to survive the streets of Chicago. I had to do so much fighting. You're wired to fight. So on the one hand, you're like, people like surrender to God. On the next hand, you're like, fight for your freedom, fight for your family. Do you want me to surrender or fight? Like, tell me what you want to do. When do you not do one? I'm like, you don't know, right? And for them to be like, we were waiting for you to just go ahead and let it go. It clicked that now you just stepped into the kingdom. Now this was all about deliverance. Deliverance from strongholds, deliverance from limitations, deliverance from fear, deliverance from 9 to 5, deliverance from security on systems that were never meant to serve you, deliverance from subconscious thoughts, deliverance from false ideas of God, deliverance from all of those things. And none of these things would have come to the surface had I not made a decision to move to Texas, then another decision to leave my career, then another decision to stay out of the career, then another decision to actually stay in the hardness of the journey, and then the decision to give up. I gave up. I stopped trying to make it work. I stopped trying to figure it out, but it took me almost a year. So deliverance does not happen instantaneously. I didn't have to go to the altar. I didn't have to go ask anyone to lay hands on me. I had to walk out this process. I had to suffer through this journey. And I'm going to insert a clip here from a video that I watched. Now, disclaimer, this man does not profess to be a Christian, but he is an African spiritualist speaking to a Christian and talking about certain things. And he says something about suffering that I want you to hear.
In the Bible, humans have been given the power to handle all those, I'm looking for a very good term, to kutawala. We have that power, to dominate everything in this world.
Yes.
And good thing is my Muslims brothers, they believe that, and they went even far. that in their scriptures it says they have given power to dominate anything on heaven and on earth. But I can only dominate if I become godly. If that God's power within me becomes higher, that is when I can dominate these things and I can command them. But the issue is, to raise that God's power within me, it's not that easy. I have to dump myself. I have to be able to endure pain. I have to sacrifice a lot of things in this normal world. For example, to awaken my powers, to raise my powers, one of the things that I have to do, I have to fast. Fast. I'm not talking about fasting that you're fasting. I'm talking about fasting.
What is fasting?
Okay. You're fasting in the morning and you're eating in the evening. I'm talking about fasting. You only eat when you see now the line between the life and death is close here. That is when you eat. That is what I'm calling fasting. Another thing that can raise your inner spiritual powers is by enduring pains. If I tell you now, you believe in God, right? You love God, right? And I say, okay, just go home and take everything that you possess, just give to the poor. And I believe in less than 5 days, God will give it back to you. In 100 people, maybe one will do that. 99% will not do that. Why? Because they doubt. They can say that they doubt, but they doubt. You understand me? So, in order not to doubt, you have to experience. That is when I had to sacrifice many things that were mine, give away to the needy, give away and remain with absolutely nothing, and see, is this God really going to do something? When that thing is done, that is when I have an absolute faith that, okay, God is real.
So we can see that there were two things that he mentioned. I had to suffer. I had to suffer. There was no way around it. I had to pay that price. I had to suffer. And the suffering was unbearable so many nights. So many nights. But I remember getting this prophetic word, and I'm probably going to insert it here. This was April 2024, and she said, God says the price had been paid, and it had. The price was paid, but the process was not done. I had not finished the process.
Dr. Brianna Whiteside, because that's what you're going to be known as, or Dr. Bree. God said, I see your sacrifices that you've made. And he said the cost and the price has already been paid. There's a foundation that's about to be laid that I am going to present you on this runway. And the Lord said that all you have to do is obey. And he said that I brought you here to overcome fear. I brought you here to overcome fear and really to face even things that you thought were failures, to relaunch, to remember, to restore, and to return.
And this whole time, I thought I was paying, but I was processing. And in that processing, I was being delivered, and deliverance hurts. And a few days ago, I completed the deliverance process because I finally let it go. My will to survive, it was gone. And not survive like to keep on living, but to kind of secure myself. It was gone. I wish there was a prettier process. I wish the journey was better. I wish it was easier. But God He never promised ease. Some of this stuff that I was dealing with, y'all, was not as a result of sin. It was a generational pattern that needed to happen, and someone had to have the courage to walk it out. Someone had to have the courage to lay down their life and say, I'll pay this price. And I didn't know what I was signing up for when I gave God a yes. And I just wanted to share that. I wanted to share that because sometimes we think deliverance looks a certain way. Sometimes we think this deliverance happens within the four walls of the church, but 9 times out of 10, true deliverance happens in a process. And I've just completed that process. I don't know what's next. I don't know. I'm not even trying to figure it out. I wake up and worry about the day. And for the longest, that's where God has been trying to get me, to only worry about the day and to step into the kingdom.